Giggles, comment? Giggling. Hello, Giggles, comment? So, right. Today, we have a special stream on which we will be doing, as the title implies, a little bit of like a research time, right? We'll be fact-checking a claim, I guess. Today we won't be going super deep. Today we'll be just trying to dip our water. I dip our foot. Yeah, I dress for the occasion, right? Okay. And we will be dipping our foot into the whole topic. So I guess I should start by... I was thinking of going to the Wikipedia first, but actually what I would like to do is give us some context into what we're doing, right? Let's give ourselves some context. I've been doing a reaction to a video by Steven Banner Destiny, and there was something that was said during that talk that has made me want to do this. Oh, why self-ID is bad. A new video by Steven. We might look at it later, right? Like, debunking the whole self-ID thing, that it's bad, is a whole other thing that we might do another time. We are not here for this now. Open link in new video. Window. So during this talk, a claim was made, especially by the very end.
To exist.
But
Lizzo flute, huh? Okay, no. Share these values. It's like okay. It is like okay.
but I'm pretty sure that like all of these people and the composer stand some time. I don't know. I don't. Okay, this. Oh no.
The Atara disgusting. Like how.
Okay.
And I understand why I have to do all of these things. You know, society's ability to blew up unnecessary.
So I will show you the context of the whole thing, right?
Lizzo did, so fuck it.
Every morning. I don't know if I'd say I'm a Mount Walsh.
Millions after doing a full documentary on it. Millions.
30% are from New York. 30% are from maybe true. At it, but I'm going to respect you. And I think that when Lizzo, and she had the other that blew up.
Oh my gosh.
Unnecessary.
Lizzo did, so fuck it.
You know what? I have a timestamp on my own video on this. I have a timestamp on the claims. There we go. YouTube. There you go. Timestamp.
I'm surprised you didn't push back more regarding like HRT and me saying that it's like the evidence is not that strong.
It's not. I always fight against people that say that because you have to couch your language very carefully. Anytime somebody wants to come on and be like, oh no, we have very, very good scientific evidence concerning adolescent. Stop. Whatever you're about to say is not true. We don't have very strong evidence for almost anything regarding trans people, even adults.
We don't have strong evidence for almost anything regarding trans people, okay? This is the claim that is being made here. So this is HRT, puberty blockers, anything, surgery, anything. We don't have strong evidence regarding anything, right?
Results for transition and like
we don't have any evidence for the results of transition, right?
In terms of doing this en masse, all of it is pretty new.
All of it is pretty new.
Therapies and the like the actual therapy, not just the drug stuff, but they're talking all of that too. All of it is very new. All of it is experimental. Everybody.
Ooh, that's okay. There we go. This is the context of why we are meeting here today, right? So we're going to start it slow. We're going to go through articles. We're going to probably read through studies. We're going to check it out. We're going to see about this claim. Right? Wait, who is... What happened in the chat? Who is the Lord? What's Lord's need? Who is this? Who? What happened in the chat where I was talking? Okay, never mind. Tell me later. So yeah, this is the context. We're gonna do a little bit of a light dip into the topic. And yeah, there we are, right? Here we are. Oh, I have no... What? Okay. So now we go to the basic source, right? The Wikipedia, where we will just read through it. We will check some sources. Like this is like the basic thing that anybody can do when they want to learn about this topic. And we will probably have some dates in here. We will probably have some basic information, right? When we want to research a topic, why not jump into the thing, right? Transgender hormone therapy, from the transgender topic. Transgender hormone therapy, also called hormone replacement therapy, because hormone replacement therapy is also a thing that is described for the process that, for example, women go through when they reach menopause, right? When there's a deficiency in hormones that is to be supplemented. That is also what we call hormone replacement therapy. But we will, I think, I'm not sure if like our experience with hormone replacement therapy for menopause translates to experience when it comes to gender affirming therapy. I think there might be some overlap, right? But let's focus on like the specified article about the trans affirming, oh, thank you, Emmanuel. Let's focus on like the affirmation part, right? Let's focus on that for now. And then we can see if there is like any overlap from HRT for menopause, for example, to HRT for gender affirming care. Because if there is, then all of a sudden it would mean that it all goes actually way more back, right? If any of that translates to gender affirming care, then that would mean that we actually have loads and loads of evidence, right? Pretty automatically. Big, at least when it comes to the actual procedure part. Boom. Transgender hormone therapy or gender affirming hormone therapy, GAHT, is a form of hormone therapy in which sex hormones and other hormonal medications are administered to transgender or gender non-conforming individuals for the purpose of more closely aligning their secondary sexual characteristic with their gender identity. So you see, it says here it's not even just about turning to a different gender. It's about making your body match more what you want. So for example, not just trans men and trans women take hormones. Non-binary people sometimes take hormones as well. Like for example, Stephanie Sterling is a non-binary non-binary femme, right? And Stephanie Sterling takes estrogen, right, as a non-binary person. Masculinizing hormone therapy for transgender men or transmasculine people. See, it's not limited to just trans men that want to be men. It's also transmasculine people. Consist of androgens and anti-estrogens. Yeah, exactly, non-binary trans femme, right? And sometimes non-binary trans femme people also want to take hormones. Sometimes people choose not to take hormones at all. Yeah, of course. Of course. And that's like, that's everybody's choice. Right? It's like, it shouldn't be about matching a certain rigid blueprint. It should be about doing what you want to do with your body in order to get closer to the result that you want, right? Some people want to change their body, some people don't want to change their body. Some people think that their body already matches their identity, but it's more about changing things like presentation, open presentation, being able to act the way you want. Well, it's worth thinking about if you want to or not. And of course, you should be able to do it. You should be able to choose to do it. Like, you should be able to think about it. Right? It should be an option for you. But it should not be mandatory to be on hormones in order for you to be accepted for your identity, for which Stephen pushes for. I want to change my body somewhat, but I don't know if hormones will give me a net benefit or loss. That actually depends on what your goal is, right? Like, maybe you could take a piece of paper, like, write down your goal, right? What your goal is when it comes to your body, and think about what are the changes you can make to be closer to what you wish to achieve. Will hormones help? Will changing like presentation help? Maybe things like makeup, maybe things like small body procedures like piercing your ears. Who knows, Like, that all depends on what your personal goal is, right? That depends on who you want to be, right? Yeah. Your life should be your own personal Warhammer. It's true. We are playing Warhammer, all of us. And D&D. Feminizing hormone therapy for transgender women or trans feminine people consists of estrogens and anti-androgens. Some intersex people may also undergo hormone therapy, either starting in childhood to confirm their sex they were assigned at birth, or later in order to align their sex with their gender identity. Non-binary people may also engage in hormone therapy in order to achieve a desired balance of sex hormones or to help align their bodies with their gender identities. Right? For me, taking estrogen really helped my depression and to stop hating my body. Of course, that's just my own experience. Everyone is different. Yeah, of course. Like, some people might have some other problems and might need additional therapy alongside hormones, right? Right. Yeah. So, requirements. The formal requirements for begin gender-affirming hormone therapy vary widely depending on geographical location and specific institution. Gender-affirming hormones can be prescribed by a wide range of medical providers, including but not limited to primary care physicians, endocrinologists, and obstetrician gynecologists. Historically, many health centers required a psychiatrist evaluation and or a letter from a therapist before beginning therapy. Okay? This is Poland. I'm actually at the start of everything. So I received like a document from a psychiatrist. I did go to a psychiatrist. So that is a requirement. That is absolutely a thing in Poland, right? Many centers now use an informed consent model that does not require any routine formal psychiatric evaluation, but instead focuses on reducing barriers to care by ensuring a person can understand the risks, benefits, alternatives, unknowns, limitations, and the risks of no treatment. That is not a thing in Poland. In Poland, you have to go through a full psychological evaluation, which is a thing that I, for example, went through. I went to a psychologist and that did a full battery of tests on me. I was tested for autism, I was tested for schizophrenia, I was tested for all sorts of things, right? And also, I got a psychiatrist evaluation. So those are the things that are mandatory things in Poland when you want to start on your road. And that is basically where I am right now, right? Okay. This is where I am. I have all my evaluations done. Right? Okay. Let's continue. In the US, there's the informed consent, which is not a thing in Poland. I'm not sure if informed consent is a thing in Germany. Right. I went private as well. There is no public gender affirming care in Poland, I think. There is no such thing, doesn't exist. Many centers now use informed consent. We went through this. Some LGBT health organizations, notably Chicago's Howard Brown Health Center and Planned Parenthood, the most hated organization by bigots, advocate for this type of informed consent model, right? I guess it makes sense, but I think there is a case to be made to maybe do some, if you have some depression issues, that you might want to undergo some form of therapy alongside starting your treatment, right? I think that makes sense. Like, for example, my assessment In my assessment, the psychologist said that I seem to have signs of some sort of like a PTSD thing. So that's like a thing that came out to the surface during our evaluation, right? Oops. The standards of care for the health of transsexual, transgender, and gender non-conforming people require that patients seeking gender affirmation hormone therapy be evaluated by gender dysphoria by either a mental health professional or hormone provider who is qualified in the area of transgender care. The standards also require that the patient give informed consent. In other words, that they consent to the treatment after being fully informed of the risks involved. Before beginning gender affirming hormone therapy, the patient must be evaluated for significant medical and mental health concerns. If present, these must be addressed and reasonably well controlled. The World Professional Association for Transgender Health, WPATH, Standards of Care, 7th edition, note that both of these approaches to care are appropriate. Right? So both tie like informed consent and the route for going through the evaluations is considered to be appropriate. We will probably try to find some sort of like we will try to find some dates, because so far we're just learning about the concept, but what we will want to do is to check how far back it goes, when it began, how many tests there were made, etc. I said if I need and had access to HRT with informed consent. Yeah, that I think that's good enough, right? That's good enough. Gender dysphoria. Many international guidelines and institutions require persistent, well-documented gender dysphoria as a prerequisite to starting gender affirmation therapy. Gender dysphoria refers to the psychological discomfort or distress that an individual can experience in their sex assigned at birth is incongruent with the person's gender identity. Signs of gender dysphoria can include comorbid mental health stressors such as depression, anxiety, low self-esteem, and social isolation. It is important to note that not all gender non-conforming individuals experience gender dysphoria. Yeah, right on the money, right? Not all people experience gender dysphoria. It doesn't make one not trans. It does not make a person not valid, right? It doesn't make a person a fake trans, as Stephen would put it. Guidelines. The World Professional Association for Transgender Health, WPATH, and the Endocrine Society formulated guidelines that created a foundation for health care providers to care for transgender patients. UCSF guidelines are also used. There is no gender agreed upon set guidelines, however. Delaying puberty in adolescents. So we're going to puberty blockers. Adolescent experiencing gender dysphoria may opt to undergo puberty suppressing hormone therapy at the onset of puberty. The standards of care set forth by WPATH recommend individuals pursuing puberty suppressing hormone therapy wait until at least experiencing Tanner Stage 2 pubertal development. Tanner Stage 2 is defined by the appearance of scant pubic hair breast bud development, and or slight testicular growth. Right. 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 WPATH classifies puberty suppressing hormones therapy as a fully reversible intervention. Delaying puberty allows individuals more time to explore their gender identity before deciding on more permanent interventions and prevents the physical changes associated with puberty. The preferred puberty repressing agent for both individuals assigned male at birth and individuals assigned female at birth is a GnRH analog. This approach temporarily shuts down the hypothalamic pituitary gonadal HPG axis, which is responsible for the production of hormones, estrogen, testosterone, that cause the development of secondary sexual characteristics in puberty. Right? Because we're just going through the basic information for now. I'm gonna censor the stuff on the screen with my own body. There you go. Today I am the censor. I am the censorship today. Right? I wish I'd realized I was trans early enough to get blockers. Going through my puberty was not fun, and even though I didn't understand why. Well, you know what? It's good that you know now. It's good that you are able to do things now, right? Better late than never. Like, it is a good thing that you are able to move forwards, like a good outcome for yourself right here, right now. The most important thing in life is the now, you know? We cannot go back and change the past, but what we can do is make our present the best present that can possibly be. I actually know a person whose mother, right now, came out as a trans woman at the age of 60 plus. Right? 60 plus. And she's extremely happy. She's extremely happy. She's living an extremely happy life. Her daughter is extremely happy for her. And she came out to her neighbors. She made a whole party to her neighbors. She prepared cake. She went for her neighbors with a cake to introduce herself now as a woman, and it went very well. The neighbors were very happy, celebrated with her, and it all went very, very well. You know, like for like a bit of a heartwarming story in like a not very nice overall country, which is Poland. Right? Yeah. Of course, Evelyn, you know? And now, we continue in puberty. Is he talking like a psychologist about psychological time and healthy and productive preoccupation with the past future? I mostly just had my identity understood, not really about blockers for me. Well, you know, we are on our journey for self-discovery, which is why we are actually doing this whole thing now, to push against certain harmful narratives that spring up to invalidate big groups of people, but also to divide us, you know, to segregate trans people into true and fake trans people, which is ridiculous, you know? segregating the community into people who are not real and those who are real, right? And claiming that one group is like a detriment to the other. Very bad stuff, right? Okay, let's continue. We read about the puberty blockers. Feminizing hormone therapy. Feminizing hormone therapy is typically used by transgender women, or as we, like above, non-binary trans femmes, right? Who desire the development of feminine secondary sex characteristics. Individuals who identify as non-binary may also, right, opt in for feminizing hormone treatment. This is a good article because it includes all sort of trans people, right? To better align their body with their desired gender expression. Feminizing hormone therapy usually includes medication to suppress testosterone production and induce feminization. Types of medications include estrogens, antiandrogens, testosterone blockers, and progestogens. Most commonly, an estrogen is combined with an antiandrogen to suppress and block testosterone. This allows for demasculinization and promotion of feminization and breast development. Estrogens are administered in various modalities, including injection, transdermal path, and oral tablets. The desired effects of feminizing hormone therapy focus on development of feminine secondary sex characteristics. These desired effects include breast tissue development, redistribution of body fat, decreased body hair, reduction of muscle mass, and more. The table below summarizes some of the effects of feminizing hormone therapy in transgender women and non-binary people, we will add. So this is a basic timeline on what happens and is it permanent or reversible, right? Voice change does not happen, you have to train, as all trans femme people can attest. Estrogen will not affect your voice. That is a thing that needs to be trained, which I am actually doing. Decreased prostate gland, unspecified. Decreased sperm of production fertility, reversible or permanent. So it does not have to be something that is true. The loss of the ability to use jars. Reversible though, probably. Masculinizing hormone therapy, which is interesting because masculinizing hormone therapy will change your voice. Masculinizing hormone therapy is typically used by transgender men who desire the development of masculine secondary sex characteristics. Masculinizing hormone therapy usually includes testosterone to produce masculinization and suppress the production of estrogen. Treatment options include oral, parenteral, subcutaneous, and transdermal patches glands. Dosing is patient-specific and is discussed with the physician. The most common prescribed methods are intramuscular and subcutaneous injections. This dosing can be weekly or bi-weekly depending on the individual patient, right? Yeah, I do wish the voice, but training can actually do wonders. Training is said to be more beneficial than doing a voice surgery. Unlike feminizing hormone therapy, individuals undergoing masculinizing hormone therapy do not usually require additional hormone suppression, such as estrogen suppression. The therapeutic doses of testosterone are usually sufficient to inhibit the production of the estrogen to desired physiological levels. See? This is what we call hormone patriarchy. Okay? This is what we in the professional world refer to as the hormone patriarchy. The desired effects of masculinizing hormone therapy focus on the development of masculine secondary sex characteristics. These desired effects include increased muscle mass, development of facial hair, voice deepening, increase of thickening of body hair, and more. Wow, wait. Oh my gosh. Feminization has a long list of effects. Masculinization has a shorter list. I guess we can look through it more. Increased libido, redistribution of body fat, cessation of ovulation, menstruation, male pattern baldness. Oh my gosh. Increased muscle mass, enlargement of clitoris, increased perspiration, acne, breast atrophy, increased RBC count. Oh, I wish I had a colorful tail. True. That is a beautiful tail, right? True, Valhalla. We all will get on HRT soon. I am working on it. Safety. Hormone therapy for transgender individuals has been shown in medical literature to be generally safe. So, we are seeing our first allusion to this is the first mention of medical literature, and the whole point of this whole journey that we are starting now is to see how much of the medical literature exists, when did the study start, and if this is as experimental as Stephen claims it to be, right? When supervised by qualified medical professional, there are potential risks with hormone treatment that will be monitored through screenings and lab tests such as blood count, hemoglobin, kidney and liver function, blood sugar, potassium, and cholesterol. Taking more medication than directed may lead to health problems, such as increased risk of cancer, heart attack from thickening of the blood clots, and elevated cholesterol. Right? So this is all the things that we need to be careful about and that we need to take into consideration when getting on hormones, when getting our dream bodies. Feminizing hormone therapy. The standards of care published by the World Professional Association for Transgender Health. So I assume if there's a standard published by the World Professional Association, then there must have been some studies made, and we will look into those. Summarize many of the risks associated with feminine hormone therapy, outlined below. For more in-depth information on the safety profile of estrogen-based feminizing hormone therapy, visit the Feminizing Hormone Therapy. We will look at this later. venous thrombotic disease. It's a blockage of vein caused by thrombus. Type 2 diabetes mellitus, breast cancer, gallstones. A gallstone is a stone formed within gallbladder from precipitated bile components that... Oh, interesting. Masculinizing hormone therapy. The standards of care published by... This is basically the same as here. Fertility consideration. This is also the step that I am at, basically, since we are discussing this. Transgender hormone therapy may limit fertility potential. Should a transgender individual choose to undergo sex reassignment surgery, their fertility potential is lost completely. Before starting any treatment, individuals may consider fertility issues and fertility preservation. This is where I am right now. Options include semen cryopreservation, which is the option that I am considering, oocyte cryopreservation, or ovarian tissue cryopreservation, which I also recommend people to consider, because we may not want children now, but this does not it does not follow that we will never ever consider having children. So we might want to consider this, right? Okay. A study presented in ENDO 2019 in Androgen Society's conference here we go. Shows that even after 1 year of treatment with testosterone, a transgender man can preserve his fertility potential. So we are starting to stumble into some studies already. This one is from 2019. So it's a fairly recent study. All right. Treatment eligibility. Many providers use informed consent, whereby someone seeking hormone therapy can sign a statement of informed consent and begin treatment without much gatekeeping. I didn't. My partner and I are too. If we were able to care for a child, I would rather adopt. Yeah, that is also a choice. But bear in mind that adoption in many countries is a far more gate-kept process than let's not even get into this topic, okay? Adoption can be far more gate-kept than just freezing your eggs or sperm, okay? That can be a far more gate-kept process, which is pretty messed up in ways. It's a big topic, but it's a want for sure. Children, I understand that this is a complicated thing, because you need to be sure that the right people adopt children, right? But sometimes the requirements become really ridiculous, right? So it can be a really, really, really difficult process to adopt. To adopt can be really difficult. Right? For other providers, eligibility is determined using major diagnostic tools such as ICD-10 or the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. Right? Psychiatric conditions can commonly accompany or present similar to gender incongruence and gender dysphoria. For this reason, patients are assessed using the DSM-5 criteria or ICD-10 criteria, in addition to screening for psychiatric disorders. The Endocrine Society requires physicians that diagnose gender dysphoria and gender incongruence to be trained in psychiatric disorders with competency in ICD-10 and DSM-5. Right? The healthcare provider should also obtain a thorough assessment of the patient's mental health and identify potential physiosocial factors that can affect therapy. Right? Like a baseline, that's true. Right is basically like a baseline of what you should be able to do or have access to, right? ICD-10. The ICD-10 system requires that patients have a diagnosis of either transsexualism or gender identity disorder of childhood. So this is my diagnosis, right? I have received the transsexualism diagnosis. This is a diagnosis that I have received. The criteria for transsexualism include a desire to live and be accepted as a member of the opposite sex, usually accompanied by a sense of discomfort with or inappropriateness of one's anatomic sex. A wish to have surgery and hormonal treatment to make one's body as congruent as possible with one's preferred sex. Individuals cannot be diagnosed with transsexualism if their symptoms are believed to be a result of another mental disorder or of a genetic or chromosomal abnormality. So in other words, that can be wielded as a weapon of gatekeeping, you know? What I have, For a child to be diagnosed with gender identity disorder of childhood under ICD-10 criteria, they must be prepubescent and have intense and persistent distress about being the opposite sex. The distress must be present for at least 6 months. The child must either have a preoccupation with stereotypical activities of the opposite sex, as shown by cross-dressing, simulating attire of the opposite sex, or an intense desire to join in games and pastimes of the opposite sex and reject the stereotypical games and pastimes of the same sex, or have a persistent denial relating to their anatomy. This can be shown through a belief that they will grow up to be the opposite sex, that their genitals are disgusting or will disappear, or that it would be better not to have their genitals. Right? Okay. And now we are going to the DSM. The DSM-5 states that at least 2 of the following criteria must be experienced for at least 6 months duration for a diagnosis of gender dysphoria. A strong desire to be of a gender other than one's assigned gender. A strong desire to be treated as a gender other than one's assigned gender. A significant incongruence between one's experience or expressed gender and one's sexual characteristics. A strong desire for the sexual characteristics of a gender other than one's assigned gender. A strong desire to be rid of one's sexual characteristics due to incongruence of one's experience or expressed gender. A strong conviction that one has the typical reactions and feelings of a gender other than one's assigned gender. Right? In addition, the condition must be associated with clinically significant distress or impairment. right? Which is, of course, again, like a thing, right? Real life experience transgender readiness. Some organizations, but fewer than in the past, requires that patients spend a certain period of time living in their desired gender role before starting hormone therapy. This period is sometimes called real life experience. The endocrine strategy stated in 2009 that individuals should either have a documented 3 months of real life experience or undergo psychotherapy for a period of time specified by their mental health provider, usually a minimum of 3 months. Transgender and gender nonconforming activists such as Kate Bornstein, we will look into this later, have asserted that real life experience is psychologically harmful and is a form of gatekeeping, effectively barring individuals from transitioning for as long as possible, if not permanently. Right? Accessibility varies, right? We all know how accessibility varies from country to country, from region to region within the country, in the case of the US, from state to state. We all know this. Accessibility. Gender affirming care is health care that affirms people to live authentically in their genders, no matter the gender they were assigned at birth or the path their gender affirmation or transition takes. Right? Hello, Lenitas. So this basically means gender affirming care refers to any path you want to take your gender on. Trans man, trans woman, non-binary, anything, like any gender identity, affirming any sort of identity is gender affirming care. Right? Question? What is the question? Yeah, usually people continue taking hormones basically forever. Yeah. Usually people... Let's ask Dr. Google. Trans women take hormones for whole life. Do you have to take HRT for the rest of your life? There is no limit on how long you take HRT, but talk to a GP about how long they recommend you take the treatment. Most women stop taking it once their menopausal symptoms pass, which is usually after a few years. Right? But I think most people just keep taking it. Especially since, and that's a whole different topic, menopausal cis women also undergo an HRT of sorts, right? HRT is actually a form of treatment for menopause itself. So as you can see, it becomes like a little bit of like a thing that sort of yeah, for cis women, right? Right. But yeah, that question was for trans people, but yeah. So I think you do take them for most of your life, right? Yeah, my mom's on HRT for menopause, I think. Yeah, because there's like this develop this sort of like a estrogen deficiency, which can affect your body negatively. So you undergo an HRT for your menopause, right? Right, of course. It allows each person to seek only the changes or medical interventions they desire to affirm their own gender identity, and hormone therapy, HRT, or gender affirming hormone therapy may be a part of that, right? Yeah. It's almost like medicine helps people feel better when they're suffering, yeah. Right. Some transgender people choose to self-administer hormone replacement medications, often because doctors have too little experience in this area or because no doctor is available. Others self-administer because their doctor will not prescribe hormones without a letter from psychotherapist stating that the patient meets the diagnostic criteria. So gatekeeping enters here. And gatekeeping has entered the chat and is making an informed decision to transition. Many therapists require at least 3 months of continuous psychotherapy and or real-life experience before they will write such a letter. Because many individuals must pay for evaluation and care out of pocket, costs can be prohibitive. Which brings me to a short little insert for me to tell you that if you're enjoying this little educational segment and if you're enjoying this journey for us to discover if HRT and puberty blockers are an experimental thing, then please consider liking this stream, subscribing, hitting the bell, and maybe even becoming a Patreon, because that will be a big step in helping me transition, actually, you know? So yeah. Access to medication can be poor even when healthcare is provided free. In a patient survey conducted by the United Kingdom's National Health Service in 2008, this is actually pretty relevant because I know there are some people from the UK in here. Sorry. 5% of respondents acknowledged resorting to self-medication, and 46% were dissatisfied with the amount of time it took to receive hormone therapy. The report concluded in part, the NHS must provide a service that is easy to access so that vulnerable patients do not feel forced to turn to do-it-yourself remedies such as buying drugs online with all the risks that entails. Patients must be able to access professional help and advice so that they can make informed decisions about their care, whether they wish to take the NHS or private route, without putting their health and indeed their lives in danger. Self-administration of hormone replacement medications may have untoward health effects and risks. Yeah, I wanted to sneeze, that's right. You know? Why can't humanity unite against the surveillance insurance companies? A number of private companies have attempted to increase accessibility for hormone replacement medications and help transgender people navigate the complexities of access to treatment. Right. Norwich. True. I have inherited that, so I have inherited that. Okay. So we have went through all the initial article, and now how do we feel about what we have read so far? Let's get like a vibe check of sorts. How are we feeling? How are we feeling, gigglers? About what we went through thus far. Like, we haven't actually gotten to the portion of the main claim, right? That this is all highly experimental, that this is all not checked, that this is all new. What it means to transition when you're non-binary. Let's new tab. Teen Vogue article. What it means to transition when non-binary. And this is not within the scope of our today's topic, but this is like actually a very interesting topic to tackle, right? Non-binary people are not all the same. Trans people are not all the same. Cis people are not all the same, I might add. Howard Brown Health Center establishes transgender hormone protocol. This might be something on our topic. Stephanie Helms. I experimented 25 years ago. It works. Hello, Stephanie. Welcome. Are you new to the stream? Have you been here before? I think I might have seen you here before, Stephanie Helms. Sound very familiar. Stephanie sounds very familiar. Okay, you see? Of course it's not effing experimental. Yeah, it's not. I know it's not, but we are basically okay. So basically I'm responding to a claim of a certain streamer, right? This is like a response to a claim of a certain streamer that says that we don't have any strong evidence when it comes to trans affirming care for adults, teens, or anyone really. It's all new, it's all experimental. So now we are going through all the materials that we have on the trans affirming care, and we are basically doing a little bit of comparing the claim to the reality of the situation, you know? We are basically we're going to what's the word? I forgot the word. I'm running out of words. I'm running out of precious words. Can you help me? When you not call out. Oh my god, I forgot the word. Never mind. Never mind. A lot of communities from the real member versus fake member problem. A lot of communities from the fake versus fake problem. And it sucks since it leads to non-productive discourse with said communities. True. There is no such thing as a fake trans person. There is no such thing. We are all real, okay? There is no such thing. If you are a non-binary person that feels not welcome anywhere, you will always be welcome in the pond. Like, a non-binary person is just as quote-unquote real as a trans woman, as a trans man. It's like, actually I may be giving a little bit of a hot take right now. There is no such thing as rebuke. Rebuke is good. Yeah, I am mentally spent as well. I am mental. But what the word that I was looking for is to. I want to. Oh my gosh. Never mind, we don't need the word. If I didn't remember the word, then it's not that important. What is important is that my hot take is. Say it? Oh no. The Harry Benjamin Standards of Care is a consensus opinion for transsexual treatment by presumably medical and psychological experts that have the 5 version in the first published in 1979. We will look into this definitely. No, it's actually not the debunk. It's like when you... Oh my gosh. The word! We are debunking Stephen, but we are also... You know, the other word for call out, like when you engage with someone on a disagreement, how do you call it? The word, there's a word for it. My God! My God! There's a word for it. It's called... Oh, I fact check this also good. But I'm looking for a very specific word. Calling his bluff also works, but... My gosh! Everybody in the debate sphere uses that word. Oppose, but different. Oppose, but different. When you... My God! I feel really bad about not remembering this word. I bet I will remember it later. Contest also. Also good random string. My gosh. Response also good. But it's like when you sort of directly not gishgap. When you directly this person being the word. Confront! I think there's this confront. Oh my gosh. Confront! There we go. I think I was thinking of confront. I confront his bad views. There you go. I can take a piece of paper. And confront. There we go. I mean, Christine Jagger says... Christine Jerkes has Jason in 1953, the year I was born. Oh, interesting. Okay. I think Stephanie is going to be amazing help when it comes to our little research thing. And now the real question is, should I... I should probably just... and now I'm having a dilemma. Because on the one side, there's a lot of valuable things happening in the chat, but also, realistically speaking, I should edit out the whole tangent about the word that I forgot. My gosh. See the dilemma of the streamer. Should I keep the whole rant about the word, but keep also the important things from this chat? Or should I cut it out? I mean, there's a third option. I can delete my rant about the word, but also um, sort of edit in the valuable bits of the chat into the segment, right? I guess that's a third option that I can take to remedy this complicated situation. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. True. True. I confront confidently Stephen on his bad claims. Lucy the Dementia Queen. My gosh. Okay. So we click on this. Harold Brown. Archive.com. Right? Let's see this first. Yeah, do what Danny said, so you have a point to cut though. Yeah, Stephanie is like Stephanie wrote very valuable things in the chat. So I think even if I edit the whole thing out, I might there is actually a way to extract your chat from thing. So I will probably extract the chat and I will insert the Stephanie's things into the video. Oh no, I was thinking of a mundane word, Stephanie. I was thinking of word like I was thinking of the word confront because I'm confronting Stephen. What would you worry about STS? That's how it was described medically until about 15 years ago. It's what in my surgeon's notes. Yeah, I know. Like I live in Poland. My 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 and now I forgot another word. My gosh. My diagnosis, okay? I keep forgetting words. Good night, Lenitas. So, my diagnosis still uses the word transsexual, so there you go. For Poland, it's not 15 years ago. For Poland, it's current year discourse, okay? I have the word in my diagnosis. So, yeah. Okay, let's continue. Let's continue our journey on confronting Stephen. My goodness. So we are having fun here. Howard Brown Health Center establishes transgender hormone protocol for immediate release. April 22, 2010. Chicago IL Howard Brown Health Center accounted today that it has revised the way it assists transgender clients to access hormones. Rather than serving as a gatekeeper to hormone therapy or requiring clients to demonstrate suitability for hormones through therapy, Howard Brown's newly created THINC Trans Hormone Informed Consent Protocol empowers clients to make choices for themselves about their lives and their transitions, which sounds like the best sort of a route you can take this, right? You should be able to, like it's the route of freedom, basically, right? You should be able to decide about your life about your body, about your presentation, about how you speak, how you move, how you drink your cola, about everything. Right? Don't you think? The division over the word in the communities is not wise. Both words mean different things. The different people call people what they want and don't tell people what to call themselves. True. True. And giggle-based. Giggle-based build. An interdisciplinary team at Howard Brown developed the informed consent model after researching hormone replacement protocols in the US and Canada. Like, we should probably start searching for when those protocols were first developed, what those protocols were first developed, like what those developments were based on, what sort of research, and etc. And when did those start, right? Since Stephanie mentioned 1953, I assume that studies on the subject began before 1953, right? Like, it did not begin in 1953. Like, 1953 was a culmination of a certain process that was happening before, right? So we might want to look into that in our future escapades, right? Am I right? Or am I right? What do you think? Am I super correct? THINC provides clients with in-depth information about the effects of hormones and ensures that clients understand the information and are able to grant informed consent for a hormone prescription. Right, so far so good. Other providers follow various standards of care, stated Lois Bates, transgender health advocate at Howard Brown. At Howard Brown, we've chosen to develop our protocol for accessing hormones based on the needs and requests of our local trans community and on what we believe to be the highest and most respectful quality of care we can provide. I'm not a big fan of the word transgenderism, but the first studies into trans care was done in Germany because Hitler burned the books. Yes. I personally think that gender reconstructive surgery is more accurate term and transgender is more inclusive across the spectrum. Yeah, that's true. That's true. True. Yeah, I would agree, right? Because gender can include discussion of sex, but sex is sort of excludes gender, right? So when you speak of trans people, transgender, you sort of include all sorts of identities, including people that don't even want to medically transition, for example, right? And that happens as well, of course. So yeah. The THINC protocol went into effect at Howard Brown on April 5th, 2010. It's okay. It's okay, Valhalla, you're okay. Playing Final Fantasy VII, original or remake? Now you're gonna get judged. Now you're really gonna get judged on the on the things that are important. Genital reconstructive surgery. Yeah, right. I like gender affirming. I agree about the term. I just know people who identify as transsexual and F for a long time who feel upset at having their identity and term taken from them. Or worse, being called bigoted for using it. True, yeah, you know? We should not try to shame ourselves, shame one another for the terms that we use, right? Like we should not fixate on the terms. What is important is like who we want to be, right? Yeah. Sex is biological and gender is identity based. It's a pretty easy concept. Yeah, but you know. The most important thing is not what term you want to use for the description, but like what term we feel internally best with and what we want to be, right? Right, Valhalla. I've got them both and switching between the two when my ADHD kicks in. Okay. Further information may be obtained by contacting Howard Brown at Center. Like, I'm not gonna make that call because that would bankrupt me even more than I am already bankrupt. Or by visiting. Okay, might as well do that later. Howard Brown Health Center is one of the nation's largest lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender LGBT healthcare organizations for a wide array of health, wellness, social service, and research programs. Howard Brown cares for more than 36,000 adult and youth clients annually. For more information about Howard Brown, please visit howardbrown.org. Wait. Huh? Interesting. They have given us the link twice. So we have the Howard Brown, right? We will look at this later. We are looking into very specific claims. Some feel they did not change their gender, but they changed their sex. This is more common among older trans folk like me. It's not tremendously important to me, to be honest. Right? Like it's the most important thing is that you can be yourself. Right? That is the most important thing, that you have the freedom to be your true self. Right? And whatever form that ends up taking. Right, like presentation or the way your name, your like medical transition, all those sort of things. Okay, I'll be right back because I need to go to the toilet break. So I will give you like the Lucy version of the toilet song. Okay, we'll do the Lucy version of the toilet song. Wait for me, because I'm about to, wait for me, please. Listen to the cool toilet song. This will be your toilet song for today. There you go, toilet song. Be right back. I am returned. Boom. Have you enjoyed the bathroom song? See, I'm like Demo Mama now. I have a bathroom song. If you say you're trans, then you're trans. Of course. What else would you be? Who else would you be if you are trans? If you are trans, then you are trans. Of course. That is the truth. The underlying truth of the matter. And yeah, I have read what Stephanie has said, that about the changing sex. Yeah, that's correct, right? Because sex is a bimodal distribution of traits, or biological traits, and you can alter those traits. So it does follow that you sort of can change your sex, right? There's also why genetic sex, quote unquote, is problematic. Sure, chromosomes carry genes, but the genes may express differently due to other factors. Yeah, but also, like, sex is not one factor, right? Sex is not determined by by an individual factor. Like, we already know that, as I've said a few sentences before, sex is a bimodal distribution of characteristics, right? So that it's like, that itself is like on this sort of like a distribution, right? Of course you can, Brina. Of course you can plug your free game that is relevant to this conversation. Naturally, of course, plug away. Giggler, let's do this. Plug your game, of course. An interesting point I want to bring up is that sex isn't useful as an identifier outside of maybe a medical consent context. True. Yeah. Because like sex and gender are separate topics, right? They are separate topics that we must tackle separately, right? So there you go. Sex is not a binary. We already know this from science. Games itch. Okay. Standards for care of the health of transsexual, transgender, and gender non-conforming people. Standards for care. Standards. Bimodal distribution too hard for the GS2 grok. Standards of care for the health of sexual, transgender, and non-gender. Okay, we might not go for this right now. We might look for things more related to the history, right? Yeah, you should all play it. You should play it and share it. Play it and share it. And give Brina some feedbacks, Research priorities for gender and non-conforming transgender youth, gender identity development, and physiological outcomes. Let's see this. What is this? Oh, there you go. There you go. This is actually, I think this might be relevant to our topic. This review summarizes relevant research focused on prevalence and natural history of gender non-conforming transgender youth and outcomes of currently recommended clinical practice guidelines. This review identifies gaps in knowledge and provides recommendations for FOSI for future research. See, this is extremely on topic. This is extremely on topic, right? Don't you think? This is from 2016, right? So we have stumbled onto something. If we're talking history, then maybe the best place to look is to 70s Sweden, since they were the first country to define gender affirming care as a form of healthcare. True. And DSM has changed through several revisions. So I will once again I will take pause to tell you all what my plan is with the research streams, okay? Today we're sort of getting a little bit of an overview. We read the Wikipedia article on HRT. We read about affirming healthcare. We are looking through some articles like this. And for the next stream, day 2 of our research, we will go more in depth into the history. So I'm looking at chat for feedback and suggestions about where we can take this, and I'm going through those articles here. I'm looking at what is available, and tomorrow we will go more in depth into those topics. How does that sound to everybody? How does that sound? Does that sound good? Or does that sound great? Great! Yeah. So we will look a bit through this, right? What do you think? Do you like this idea or no? Does it rock or does it suck? Okay. So let's read through this for now. This review summarizes relevant research. We've read this. Recent findings. Yeah, of course. Of course. This is an important stream series. Increasing numbers of gender non-conforming youth are presenting for care. Clinically useful information for predicting individual physiosexual development pathways is lacking. Transgender youth are at high risk for poor medical and physiosocial outcomes. Longitudinal data examining the impact of early social transition and medical interventions are sparse. So I guess this claim seems to find some merit, right? I guess this Stephen claim seems to find some confirmation in this research that we are reading, that the gender affirming care for trans youth has not been explored enough. Existing tools to understand gender identity and quantify gender dysphoria need to be reconfigured in order to study a more diverse cohort of transgender individuals. Increasingly, biomedical data are beginning to change the trajectory of scientific investigation. And there is a problem with what is written here, right? And it's not a problem for us, it's a problem for Stephen actually, because this says that while we do not have good information when it comes to healthcare for young people, it says that we do not have enough good health care service when it comes to the wide amount of different identities, right? It says here, existing tools to understand gender identity and quantify gender dysphoria need to be reconfigured in order to study a more diverse cohort of transgender individuals. Increasingly more diverse cohort of transgender individuals. So basically, more types of gender identities, right? This is what it means, more diverse cohort of transgender individuals. Right? Why are you wearing a penguin suit? Because penguins are cute, did you not know? Have you never seen a penguin in your life? Penguins are cute animals. I love penguins. I've seen a penguin live. Very cute. Summary. Extensive research is needed to improve understanding of gender dysphoria and transgender experience, particularly among youth. So this is like saying that we are lacking the knowledge when it comes to helping trans youth, but also that has something to do with an increasing amount of young people openly exploring different gender identities. Recommendations include identification of predictors of persistence of gender dysphoria from childhood into adolescence, and a thorough investigation into the impact of interventions for transgender youth. Finally, examining the social environments of transgender youth is critical for the development of appropriate interventions necessary to improve the lives of transgender people. Keywords. Introduction. Background. Let's look a bit through the conclusion, and then I think we will go more in depth into this next time. The last is a very important recent study. Are you referring to a link? Stephanie, if you have linked something, I do not see it. Have you linked something, Stephanie? What do you think? Have you linked something? So Stephanie, if you're not on the Discord, you should join it. So, because you're saying the last is very important recent study, so have you have you linked something there? Oh, I do not see your links. I do not see your links. See, this is this is a thing. I do not see your links. Can you join the Discord and link your links on the Discord? Maybe. Are you on the dis? Are you on the? Are you on my Discord? Are you on the Giggle Cord? So we can check it out. Join Giggle Cord, a fun, friendly, and caring pond of good gigglers. Not to say that they're bad gigglers, they're only good gigglers. There's no such thing as a bad giggler. They're only good gigglers. So we'll wait for you to join. And in the meantime, we will read a bit of the behavior and emotional problems, autism spectrum disorders, and gender variance, which is actually pretty interesting and non-topic of a recent Dima and Mama debate about the autism gender. The prevalence of autism spectrum disorder was found to be 10 times higher in the population of Dutch children with gender dysphoria who were referred to a gender identity clinic than in population of typical children. Prevalence statistic from a referral population may not be generalized to the larger population because it may be more difficult to diagnose and counsel children and adolescents who have gender dysphoria and autism. Future studies should examine the relationship between these two conditions in more detail. This is existing tools to measure gender. Gaps in knowledge. Let's see, this is interesting part. Gaps in knowledge is quite the interesting part of the whole. Virtually all of the outcome data in gender non-conforming children, peri-pubescent and adolescent transgender youth have been carried out in Europe and Canada 13, 14, 15, 56. There are no long-term outcome data for their pre-pubertal or adolescent transgender youth originating from the United States. Oh. The Lancet articles, December. Okay, I will copy this message. Copy. Place it here. There we go. I have copied your message. There we go. Thank you very much, Stephanie. Recently, a 4-site study in the United States designed to examine the impact of early treatment in transgender youth was funded by the NIH and is about to begin. How old is this? Actually, this is from the year. How old is the thing that we are reading right now? 2016, I think. Or 17. Okay. Oh, thank you. While the work in the Netherlands has been critical to the field of transgender youth care, the results are limited for several reasons. Primarily, gender dysphoric youth in the Netherlands may not reflect the ethnic or cultural diversity of transgender youth in the United States and elsewhere around the world. In addition, the social context of growing up as a gender dysphoric child in the Netherlands, including outcomes related to the use of pubertal blockers and cross-sex hormones, may be quite different than in other parts of the world. Transgender and gender non-conforming youth are seen in one specific gender identity clinic that is the primary resource for the majority of gender dysphoric children and adolescents in the Netherlands. Additionally, due to the constraints of the current health system and the resulting lack of access to adequate and timely care in the United States, there is poor consistency to medical practice models around the country. Right. We will copy link. Okay. Significant gaps in knowledge exist in nearly all aspects of gender variance, gender dysphoria, and transgender experiences of children, adolescents, and young adults. This working group has divided the research priorities and recommendations into three distinct cohorts: prepubescent gender nonconforming variant children, early pubertal youth, and late pubertal post-pubertal youth. Bullet points. Increasing numbers of gender-conforming youth and presenting for care. Transgender youth are at high risk for poor medical and psychological outcomes. Longitudinal data examining the impact of early social transition and medical transition are sparse. Biomedical data are beginning to change the trajectory of scientific investigation. Extensive research is needed to improve understanding of gender dysphoria and transgender experience, particularly among youth. So this is from 2017. Let's see this. The Lancet. Summary. Background. In the Netherlands, treatment with puberty suppression is available to transgender adolescents younger than 18 years old. When gender dysphoria persists, testosterone or estradiol can be added as gender-affirming hormones in young people who go on to transition. We investigated the proportion of people who continued gender-affirming hormone treatment and follow-up after having started puberty suppression and gender-affirming hormone treatment in adolescents. methods. In this cohort study, we used data from Amsterdam cohort of gender dysphoria, ACOG, which included people who visited the gender identity clinic of the Amsterdam UMC, location VRIGE, Universiteit Medisch Centrum, Netherlands, for gender dysphoria people with disorders of sex development, were not included in the ACOG. We included people who started medical treatment in adolescence with a gonadotropin releasing hormone agonist, GnRHA, to suppress puberty before the age of 18 years, and used GnRHA for a minimum duration of 3 months before addition of gender-affirming hormones. We linked this data to a nationwide prescription registry supplied by Statistics Netherlands, Central Bureau voor de Statistiek, to check for a prescription for gender-affirming hormones at follow-up. The main outcome of the study was a prescription for gender-affirming hormones at the end of data collection, December 31st, 2018. Data were analyzed using Cox regression to identify possible determinants associated with a higher risk of stopping gender-affirming hormone treatment. Findings. 720 people were included, of whom 220, 31% were assigned male at birth, and 569% were assigned female at birth. At the start of GnRHA treatment, the median age was 14 years for people assigned male at birth and 16 years for people assigned female at birth. Median age at the end of data collection was 20 years for people assigned male at birth and 19. So it's like a pretty long study. Years for those assigned female at birth. People who had started gender-affirming medical treatment in adolescence continue to use gender-affirming hormone and follow-up. Age at first visit year of first visit age and puberty stage at start of GnRHA treatment, age at start of gender-affirming hormone treatment, year of start gender-affirming hormone treatment, and gonadectomy were not associated with discontinued gender-affirming hormones. Interpretation. Most participants who started gender-affirming hormones in adolescence continued this treatment into adulthood. The continuation of treatment is reassuring, considering the worries that people who started treatment in adolescence might discontinue gender-affirming treatment. Right. Okay. So we have done some basic research. We have found from this that this seems to indicate that when it comes to trans youth, we don't have a lot of info still, but that actually can be contributed to the fact that trans healthcare for youth is being actively suppressed. So you have to take this fact into consideration, right? There is not exactly an argument against, but more like pro. I think we have to formulate some questions before we continue. Oh, it has. Can I see hatchling ground? Are you Sidra? You are Sidra? You are now in, okay? Don't worry about it. Don't worry, Stephanie, you are in. You have, you are on the Discord. You are in. Okay. Yeah, you don't have to worry. I just gave you the, yeah, I just gave you the role. Like, you don't have to worry about it. The system is not perfected, so if you need to, so if you can get in, I'll just give you the relevant role and it's okay. Okay. So we will need to, I will write it down, okay, because this is quite important. We need to formulate some more specific questions when it comes to moving forward with reading the studies and history, right? Questions for next time. Because the main keywords that we are looking at are experimental and new. So, and of course, Stephen said that it's both for adults and for the youth. So that's another thing. But what does it mean that it's experimental? What does it mean that it's new, right? Because those things come from certain things that have been done before. Puberty blockers were used for cis people before they were used for trans people. HRT was used for cis people before it was used for trans people. And those things intertwine to a degree as well, right? And that, I think, should be also investigated as much as possible. Right? What do you think? Do you agree with my assessment of the situation? Oh my gosh. Right. So right now, I believe that we might. There was a four-plus page spread in a January 1969 Look magazine issue of the subject. It's not new and was generally positive. Right. And we will need to look through those things. Of course, my question is if this spread was for young people or for adults, right? We will also have to look into that. If those things for young people or for adults, etc., etc. So I think this is like the thing that I will want to look for next time. All the studies that were conducted more in the past. I, unlike Stephen, was not born yesterday. True, true. and your help is very appreciated. Will you be able to be here tomorrow as well? Will you be able to continue with us tomorrow on day 2 of our research stream? Because I think this is like I think this is a good time part to like sort of finish it for today and continue more in depth tomorrow. What do you think? What time tomorrow CET? Okay, very nice. CET to Warsaw time. Where time, buddy? CET, Warsaw. I am in CET. Okay. So I think, yeah, I'm CET. Like 8 p.m. CET? Is that okay? What do you think? Is that alright? Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. We'll even do an announcement and a nice thing to. Oh wait, right? Because we have like sort of did an overview of the topic. We had read one research thing that says that the knowledge when it comes to trans youth seems to be lacking, right? Okay. Okay. So you will be here? Yeah? Would you rather I start at 9 p.m. CET? I could start an hour later if it would make you, if it would work better for you. Then I can start 1 hour later. 9 p.m. CET, which would be 4 EST, right? EST. EST. Oh, sorry. 9 p.m. is actually 3 p.m. EST. Oh la la. What do we think about this game plan? Of course, tomorrow we will also go a lot more in depth into this article. Yeah? I could actually start at 10 p.m. outright, right? For to be safe, I can start at CET 10 p.m., which this world time buddy says is 4 p.m. EST. Yes, that could be best, right? That will do to be on the safe side. Yeah? What do you think? $10 p.m. to be on the safe side? I can start on 10 p.m. to be on the safe side. And then we can continue. Can prep some things for tomorrow. We will start with a few baseline questions tomorrow. Tanner stages. Hormones for non-binary people. Okay. Well, it's not just what works for me, it's also what works for all of you, since you need more than one to tango. Okay? You need more than one to tango. Okay, so it's a date. Tomorrow, 10 p.m. EST, we will be doing a nice big, how you call, continuation of today. I think today went pretty well as sort of starting to get, as a starting point, I think we did pretty well, right? As this starting point into right? Yeah, research stream continuation tomorrow. Okay. Thank you all so much. I think I might go to rest a bit. So I will click end stream for now. And I hope to see you all tomorrow. Okay? Thank you for coming. This was all very intense. And I wish you all a great day, evening, or night. And hope that you will visit tomorrow when we go more in depth and build up on the base facts that we have learned today. Okay, Cypress and Street, thank you very much. And Street.